You remember the moment the galaxy decided you were a mistake. Not loudly. Not with explosions or fleets descending from the sky. No, it happened politely. With votes. With translated smiles. With words like efficiency, biological mercy, and long-term sustainability. You were sitting in a control chamber on Luna Station, watching alien faces flicker across a holotable the size of a city plaza. Thousands of species, millions of years of evolution, perfect symmetry, perfect genetics, perfect lies. And then the final tally appeared. Resolution 441 Theta passed. Earth's non-viable population, the disabled, the chronically ill, the neurodivergent, the injured, the elderly who could no longer contribute, were to be peacefully euthanized for the greater good of galactic harmony. No war. No invasion. Just compliance. The galaxy expected Earth to agree. After all, every other world had. You clench your hands behind your back as the chamber goes silent. No one speaks. Not the diplomats, not the admirals, not the scientists. Because everyone knows exactly who the galaxy just condemned. Your sister, whose spinal implant never fully sensed after a shuttle crash. The boy down the street who communicated through screens instead of speech. The veterans breathing through mechanical lungs. The children born with genes the galaxy considered inefficient noise. The galaxy called them errors. You called them human. The speaker of the Concordance floats forward, its body a lattice of light and chitin, voice harmonized through 12 throats. Earth representative, it says gently. This is not punishment. This is mercy. Your species will flourish once burden is removed. You stare at it. You're asking us to kill our own, you reply. We are asking you to evolve. A few delegates ripple with approval. Others look bored. They've seen this conversation before, 1,000 times. Because this isn't the first world the galaxy has fixed. You've studied the records. The crystalline thinkers of Aurelian, who erased emotional variance. The amphibian colonies of Selkai, who culled the blind. The avian philosophers who removed those unable to fly. All of them survived. All of them became quiet. No art, no rebellion, no music that broke rules. Just efficiency, stretching into eternity. Your cum implant hums. A private channel opens. Don't, comes the voice of Dr. Amara Reyes, geneticist, wheelchair user, and the woman who designed Earth's first adaptive starship interfaces. Don't let them frame this as kindness. You don't answer. You don't need to. Because the chamber is waiting. The vote is complete, the speaker says. Earth has one standard cycle to comply. If you refuse, sanctions will follow. Sanctions. No access to jump gates. No trade. No shared star maps. No medical exchanges. Isolation in a universe that eats the weak. A slow death. Unless you obey, you take a breath. Then another. Then you do something no species in galactic history has ever done. You laugh. Softly. Almost kindly. The speaker tilts its head. Do you misunderstand the severity of... No, you say. I understand it perfectly. You step forward. Every camera focuses on you. This galaxy, you continue, believes survival means perfection, optimization, removal of weakness. You gesture to the holotable, to the alien delegates with flawless forms. But humanity didn't survive because we were perfect. You pause. We survived because we carried each other. A murmur ripples through the chamber. You continue before they can interrupt. Our disabled didn't slow us down. They taught us patience, creativity, adaptation. Every accessibility ramp became an engineering breakthrough. Every prosthetic became a new industry. Every limitation forced innovation. You look straight at the speaker. You see inefficiency. We see problem solvers. The speaker's light dimmed slightly. Emotion does not override biology. No, you agree. But love overrides extinction. Silence. You tap your wrist console. A new projection fills the chamber. Not weapons, not fleets, ships. Thousands of them. Massive, modular, asymmetrical, ugly by galactic standards. Built with redundant systems, manual overrides, tactile controls, neural interfaces that adapt to people, not the other way around. Every ship looks different. Because every ship was designed for someone the galaxy would have erased. These, you say, are the Exodus arcs? Confusion spreads. We were preparing for trade expansion. You lie smoothly. Turns out we were preparing to leave. The speaker stiffens. Leave. Where? You smile. Anywhere you're not. A ripple of outrage bursts across the chamber. You cannot survive without the concordance. You will collapse within generations. You are choosing extinction. You shake your head. No. You say, we're choosing our people. The transmission ends abruptly. Sanctions activate within minutes. Jump gates lock. Trade routes vanish. Earth star charts go dark. The galaxy turns its back on you. 3 days later, the first Exodus arc launches. Then another. Then 100 more. Cities empty into the stars. Wheelchairs magnet-locked to decks. Neural divergent navigators rewriting AI logic on the fly. Blind pilots flying by gravitational resonance alone. Children laughing in corridors the galaxy said they'd never reach. You watch Earth shrink behind you, not abandoned, carried forward. And as the last human ship slips into uncharted space, a final message echoes across every sealed galactic channel. You chose perfection. We chose humanity, and we will outlive you. Out in the dark, beyond maps, beyond permission, something ancient stirs. Something that has been watching. Something that understands exactly what the galaxy has just lost. And this was only the beginning. Call to action, part 1 only. If you want to see what humanity becomes after leaving the galaxy, if you want to witness how the weak build something the universe has never survived before, then like, subscribe, and comment humanity first, because part 2 is where the galaxy realizes its greatest mistake. You don't feel heroic when the galaxy disappears behind you. There's no swelling music, no moment where fear neatly turns into courage. What you feel instead is weight, the quiet, crushing awareness that every human life you know is now riding inside machines held together by stubbornness, duct tape, and faith in one another. Uncharted space isn't empty. It's hostile in ways the Concordance never bothered to map, because no optimized species had ever tried to live here. Stars burn too hot. Gravity wells bend unpredictably. Radiation storms bloom like invisible hurricanes. Perfect systems fail fast. Human systems adapt. The first crisis comes 12 days out. You're asleep when the arc shudders, not violently, but wrong, like a skipped heartbeat. Alarms don't blare. They whisper, rooted through sensory channels tuned for different needs. For some, it's a tone. For others, a vibration in the floor. For a few, a visual ripple across the walls. Accessibility wasn't charity. It was redundancy. The ship's core AI stutters, unable to reconcile conflicting sensor data. Space here doesn't obey the neat math it was trained on. You reach the command deck to find chaos and calm. A deaf engineer is already signing rapid instructions while a translation mesh projects them into speech. A neurodivergent navigator has stripped the AI's decision loop down to bare logic, discarding assumptions like, "This star should behave normally." Dr. Reyes floats nearby, braced in her chair, eyes sharp. "Radiation bloom," she says. "Non-lethal. But it's rewriting our predictive models. Can we outrun it?" She smiles faintly. "No, but we can learn it." That's the first thing the galaxy never understood. Humans don't just solve problems. You befriend them. The navigator feeds live anomaly data directly into the ship as adaptive framework, not to correct it, but to change how it thinks. The AI stops trying to predict space and starts listening to it. The Ark doesn't dodge the storm. It dances with it. 3 ships fail that month. Not catastrophically. Not explosively. They simply stop. Power gone. Systems frozen. In the Concordance, that would be the end. Losses written off as inefficiencies. For you, it becomes a test of who you actually are. You turn back. Every Ark does. Towing disabled ships through unstable gravity nearly tears your fleet apart. Pilots with prosthetic arms manually override control laws that automated systems refuse to break. A blind astrogator guides the rescue using gravitational sound, feeling mass distortions like rhythm. When the last ship is secured, cheers ripple across all channels. Not because you survived, because no one was left behind. Weeks stretch into months. The exodus stops being a flight. It becomes a civilization in motion. Children born mid-journey are given no homeworld to mourn. Their lullabies are engine hums and whispered stories about a galaxy that couldn't imagine them existing. Schools aren't classrooms. They're clusters of mentors floating in cargo bays, teaching through touch, symbols, simulations, and trial. Intelligence stops being a narrow metric. It becomes diverse, messy, powerful. Then you find it. A region of space to concordance marked as null. Not empty, silent. Stars here burn dimmer, older. The background radiation carries a pattern, not a signal, not language, but structure. The scientists hesitate. The veterans don't. You move in. That's when the watchers reveal themselves. Not with fleets, with gravity. Entire systems subtly reconfigure as you pass, like something adjusting its posture to observe you better. The first contact team prepares for extinction. Instead, they receive curiosity. The entities don't have bodies. They inhabit stellar mass, dark matter lattice, quantum filaments stretched across light years. They are ancient beyond measure, older than the Concordance, older than most stars. They have watched the galaxy rise and stagnate. They speak not in words, but in impressions, concepts pressed gently into human minds. Why do you carry the broken? The question isn't hostile. It's baffled. You answer without hesitation. Because they aren't broken. Confusion ripples through space-time. The galaxy disagrees. You nod. That's why we left. The entities show you memories. Entire species streamlined into oblivion. Cultures reduced to efficient stillness. A galaxy perfectly balanced. And utterly sterile. No risk. No variation. No growth. Just endless survival without meaning. They call this success. They would, you say softly. Something changes. The Watchers have not intervened in galactic affairs for millions of years. Intervention risks chaos, entropy, unpredictability. Humanity is all of those things, and worse. You're contagious. They study your ships, the patched hulls, the mismatched controls, The biological mechanical hybrids grown from necessity. They observe how disability forced innovation that optimization would have forbidden. Where the galaxy removed variance, you amplified it. Where the galaxy erased weakness, you turned it into strength. You should not exist. They tell you. You smile. We hear that a lot. They make you an offer. Not alliance. Not protection. A door. A region beyond even their oldest maps. Space still forming. Physics still flexible. A place where no optimized civilization could survive, but where adaptability might thrive. The cost is simple. You can never return. Not to the Concordance. Not to the galaxy that cast you out. The vote is held across the fleet. Not weighted. Not filtered. Not optimized. Everyone votes. Hands, eyes, signals, thought patterns translated into yes or no. The result is overwhelming. You pass through the door. Reality bends. Some ships scream alarms that mean nothing anymore. Others go blissfully silent. The universe on the other side feels unfinished, perfect. You build. Not empires, homes. Years later, a concordance probe finally follows your trail. It expects ruins. Instead, it finds a civilization that shouldn't be possible. Adaptive megastructures, grown rather than built. Societies where limitation is assumed, and therefore planned for. Technology that doesn't demand perfection, only participation. No central authority, no enforced standard, just humanity. Expanded. The probe transmits one final report before its systems fail. Overwhelmed by physics it can't parse. They did not weaken themselves. They diversified. We miscalculated. Back in the Concordance, panic spreads. Because other species are starting to ask questions. Dangerous ones. And somewhere in the unfinished dark, the ancient watchers listen to human laughter echo through stars still being born. And begin to wonder if this chaotic, stubborn species might be exactly what the universe has been missing. Part 3 will be where the galaxy comes knocking and discovers that humanity didn't just leave. Humanity evolved. You know, the moment the galaxy finally understands it made a mistake, it doesn't arrive with humility. It arrives with fear. The first Concordance fleet crosses into the null region expecting debris. What it finds instead is order born from chaos. Stars partially enclosed in living lattice that flex with stellar moods. Habitats that rearrange themselves based on who needs what today, not what a central algorithm predicted centuries ago. Traffic patterns that look inefficient. Until you realize no ship ever waits, no crew is ever excluded, no system assumes a standard being. The fleet pauses. Optimized civilizations don't pause. They advance. Admiral Ketherix of the Concordance watches the data scroll across his command sphere, mandibles tightening. These structures violate at least 12 galactic efficiency doctrines. His science cast murmurs agreement and confusion. There is no genetic baseline, one analyst reports. No dominant phenotype. Variance is celebrated. Another hesitates. Admiral, there are no euthanasia protocols. None. The weak are not segregated. Ketherix feels something unfamiliar twist in his core. Unease, because this shouldn't work. And yet, it does. The Concordance hails you. Polite, measured, late. The speaker, a newer model now, sleeker, colder, appears on your command display. Humanity, it says, voice harmonized to soothe. We acknowledge an error in projection. Your extinction did not occur as forecast. You lean back, older now. Lines at the corners of your eyes. Gravity doesn't quite agree with your bones anymore. Funny thing about forecasts, you reply. They assume the future behaves. The speaker continues. Your success has created instability. Several member species have begun questioning optimization mandates. Productivity is down. Compliance is wavering. So that's it. You smile. You didn't come to apologize. You say. You came to contain. The speaker doesn't deny it. We propose reintegration, it says. Autonomy guaranteed. Cultural exemptions granted. Limited tolerance for variance. Limited. There's the knife. Behind you, the council chamber fills, not with elites, but with everyone. Veterans, children, engineers, artists, minds that think sideways and bodies that move differently. Humanity unfiltered. Dr. Reyes speaks quietly beside you. They still don't see us, she says. They see a malfunction they failed to delete. You nod. Open the channel wider. The speaker stiffens as thousands more human faces appear. We will not comply, you say calmly. A ripple of tension spreads through the Concordance fleet. You misunderstand, the speaker replies. Refusal will be met with corrective action. There it is. The galaxy's final instinct. Force. What the Concordance doesn't to know, what it can to know, is that optimized war doctrine assumes symmetry, predictable responses, standardized command, centralized control. Humanity learned long ago that symmetry breaks easily. The first shot is not a weapon, it's information. Human ships flood concordance sensors with contradictory data streams, not noise, but meaningful inconsistency. Interfaces designed to handle one correct input begin to choke. Autonomous targeting systems hesitate. Human pilots don't. When the first exchange of fire happens, it's brief and humiliating. Concordance beams slice through where human ships should be, but human ships are never quite where they should be. Manual overrides break safety laws the galaxy considers sacred. Pilots with tremors compensate instinctively. A navigator who processes time non-linearly executes maneuvers that confuse even your own logs. The Concordance loses 3 cruisers without understanding how. Panic spreads. Cease fire, the speaker demands. This escalation benefits no one. You cut your engines. The fleet holds. We didn't want this, you say. But we won't be erased again. The speaker hesitates. It has never negotiated from weakness. Then something else arrives. The Watchers. Space folds, not violently, not dramatically. It simply makes room. The ancient entities emerge as shifts in gravity, shadows where equations fail. Concordance sensors overload instantly. Crews scream as reality refuses to stay indexed. The Watchers speak, not just to you, but to everyone. This conflict is a symptom. The Concordance reels. What are you? The speaker asks, fear bleeding through modulation. We are what remains when optimization fails. The Watchers turn their attention fully to the Concordance. You pruned variance to survive. In doing so, you halted evolution. Images flood every mind. Species stagnating, cultures flattening, stars dying without successors ready to adapt. This one did not prune, a gesture toward humanity. This one bent. The Concordance tries to argue. Optimization saved trillions. Stability preserved peace. The Watchers accept this, and then they show the cost. A galaxy alive, but going nowhere. Entropy is not defeated by perfection, the Watchers say. IT is delayed by adaptation. Silence follows. Even optimized minds understand truth when it's absolute. The speaker's light flickers. What do you propose? The Watchers do something extraordinary. They step aside. Choose, they say. As you always have, you don't gloat. You don't threaten. You simply speak. You can keep your galaxy the way it is, you say. Or you can let it change, slowly, uncomfortably, humanly. A pause. And no, you add, we're not coming back to lead it. The Concordance votes. Not unanimously. Never again unanimously. Optimization doctrines are revised. Euthanasia mandates repealed. Variance thresholds expanded. Painfully, inefficiently. Progress begins. Humanity does not return. You stay where physics is still young. You build where failure teaches, instead of ending lives. You become something the galaxy can observe and learn from. Centuries later, children hear the story as myth of the day the galaxy voted to kill the weak, and how the so-called weak walked away and changed the universe simply by refusing to disappear. And far beyond known space, the watchers continue to listen, not with fear, but with hope, because at last, something unpredictable is growing again.